Hello students and welcome to iPad Rules, all the things you need to know to be able to keep your iPad working and running great. Okay, the first thing you need to know about these iPads is that they are sensitive to heat and cold. Okay, so you don't want to be leaving them in a car overnight or out in the hot sunshine or out in the cold weather. So they really are sensitive. They kind of really like room temperature. That's kind of the best thing for them. If it gets too hot, they don't work very well, and of course the batteries don't survive very well if it gets too cold. So keep them out of the extreme temperatures. Okay, let's talk about how to clean an iPad screen. So the next rule is don't use glass cleaners to clean an iPad screen. And I know it doesn't make sense because the screen is glass on here, but glass cleaners have ammonia in them and it kind of really deteriorates. There's a special little film on the outside of your iPad. That's what makes it so nice to be able to move your finger across it and everything. So don't use like a commercial cleaner for Windows because that ammonia is going to wreck that little film. Just use a tissue and just clean it off. It'll be really nice and pretty. That's all you really need to do to keep your screen clean. Okay, always keep your iPad in the case. It's really there for a great reason, and that's to protect it if it's ever dropped or bumped or anything bad that could happen to it. That really does keep it really good. The iPad's a very expensive device, and we don't want to ruin it just because we don't have our little cases on there. So always keep your iPad in its case. It keeps it protected. Well, as you know at school, sometimes sicknesses can go around and other things. And this rule is called clean hands, clean iPads. So if you have the sniffles, you might want to kind of keep your hands really clean or keep your iPad really clean after you've been using it. Or things like we don't ever want to be eating little crumbly little chips or something else like that around our iPads because all that gets into the case and all the little edges and it doesn't make for a very good iPad. So keep your iPad clean by keeping your hands clean. Now you're going to get really used to having this iPad and you might even start to think it's your iPad, but it's not. It belongs to the school and you can't do any installs on it. So you might be thinking, maybe I'm going to put that app on there. You can't do it. Okay, you're not allowed to install anything onto iPads. Now, you're going to hate me for this one, but you are not allowed to play just games on an iPad. Okay, this is a school. This is not your living room where you can just hang out and do all sorts of things on there. So no gameplay, unless it's been approved by your teacher as some type of reward. But for the most part, games are not allowed. Okay, unless there's some special academic game, like learning how to do something by pressing the right buttons and stuff. But for the most part, just a game, normal arcade type game, not allowed at school. Save that for when you're at home. So sometimes things stop working great on the iPad and they need to be turned off and turned on again. So let me just show you how that works. Okay, so here's my iPad. And sometimes we think, oh, well, I know how to turn it off. I'll just press the button on the top. Well, that's actually called the sleep button. So all I've done is put it to sleep. I haven't really turned it off. So that's why it comes on so quickly. To be able to turn off an iPad, so if things aren't working great on your iPad and you don't know why, it's probably because it needs to be turned off and turned on again. So this is how you turn it off. Okay, so let me just show you. Here it is awake. I hold down that sleep button for a few seconds. There we go. Now the little slider is there for me to turn it off. And now it's actually turning off. And it's going to probably take about 30 seconds for it to turn off. So you wait until it's done. There's a little thing spinning right there. Got to wait until that's all done. And then you can hold it down for about 3 seconds and that'll turn it back on again. That's how to turn it off and on. Okay, this rule goes back to the whole it's the school's and not your thing. And that is we can't have you put any personal accounts on here. So you can't go and put your personal iCloud account on here, personal iTunes, or a personal email like, oh, I'm going to link my Gmail onto here. No, you can't do that because we need to be able to control everything going in and out of the iPad, and we can't have your stuff going in and out. Okay, so we need to be able to block access to those type of things just to keep our school safe and secure. So again, that's things for your own personal devices, things you have at home. Here at school, we use the school accounts, we use our school email, and we can't put any personal accounts on there. I know you hate me for this one too, but that's just kind of how we keep everything running in our school. Okay, believe it or not, one of the biggest things we have to solve always with the problems we get on iPads are when students have started to mess with the settings on their iPad. So we set them all one way for the whole school to operate, and it's great. We've tested it, and it works great. And then suddenly someone will come along and open up settings and then make a couple changes. And then they'll come to us a week or two later going, oh, it's not working right. It's not communicating with the Wi-Fi. Something's not right. And then we have to go dig through everything to try to find out how to fix it. So it saves us a lot of times if you just stay out of the settings, just leave them alone, everything's working great. And if things stop working, don't start messing with them. Okay, just bring it to the techs, we will take a look at it, but don't start messing with the settings. Our next rule is a no-brainer with electronics. You guys should all know this without ever being told, and that is electronics and liquids do not like each other, and they will wreck the electronics. So keep your sodas, your drinks, anything liquidy away from your iPad, okay? Because it has lots of little places for liquids to go in, and it would wreck the insides of it. So just be really careful and just keep those away. Sometimes we get so used to having technology around us all the time that we forget it's there. And you got to really, for this rule, we're calling it, keep track of your iPad. So if you're in the media center or you're in a classroom or something, know where it is all the time. Don't be just leaving it places. Don't leave it in the lunchroom and don't leave it in the media center. Really kind of keep track of it so you at all times know where your iPad is, okay? As we know, some of the best things on iPads, some of the best apps make noise, okay? But the problem is when you have 20 or 30 students in a room and they're all making noise with their iPads, it can be a little annoying. It can be a lot annoying. So make sure to be really courteous to other people. If you have an app that does require noise, keep the volume down, or better yet, use your headphones. Okay, this is one of those selfish rules, okay, and that is do not touch someone else's iPad without their permission. We know that you're going to work in groups and you're going to be working together. Okay, that's good. But what we don't want to happen is when students just go over and touch and do something to someone else's iPad without their permission. That's not right. It's a school rule to not ever mess with or do something to someone else's files or their devices. So just leave it alone. Don't touch someone else's iPad. I know we mentioned in a different rule about not having personal accounts, but there's another thing we need to add to that, and that is that you cannot put a lock code on your iPad. I know you might think, oh, it makes it more safe and then no one can mess with my stuff, but really it really messes things up on our end because if we need to get into your iPad, it blocks us out as well, and then we have to wipe out the iPad completely to be able to refresh it and start again. So you do not want to put, and you are not allowed to put, a lock code on your iPad. This rule is called take care of your adapter and your cable. Okay, let me tell you what I mean here. Okay, so everybody has an adapter and a cable to keep their iPad charged up. And that you've got to really take care of these because this is kind of delicate. Anywhere where it joins into a plug here is delicate. So if I wrap it up really tight like that, this little part's going to break after a couple of months. So let's not do that. Okay, let's give it a little bit of room there, and then I can wrap it around here, and now it's ready to go. See that little bit of room there just helps it stay nice and good, and I can put that in my backpack. Keep these together. So don't disconnect them so you're like, I have no idea where my cable is. No, you want to keep them together, okay? So take care of your adapter and your cable so that nothing gets broken. And when, like I said, when they join into another part, that's where they're really delicate. So keep that really nice and easy, okay? Okay, let's talk about batteries. Okay, now I know it's kind of difficult to keep that whole battery managed, but it's all up to you, okay? It's not your teacher's responsibility, it's not your neighbor, it's not your mommy and daddy's, it's your responsibility to keep your iPad charged, okay? So if your teacher starts a new project and asks everybody to get out your iPads, we're all gonna go and look something up on the internet and you're like, I'm at 3%, okay, that's not acceptable. Okay, you have got to keep your battery charged, okay? You've got to know how much you use, and then you've also got to make sure to charge it at home. It's not a matter of having an extension cord running over to your desk and plugging in the adapter and then charging your iPad at school. Okay, you keep it charged at home, and you keep it at a level so it can run all day at school, okay? So it's all up to you.